That sounded lovely.
Yeah. We've started with a clink this episode because...
We've poured enough wine.
Yeah, and it's the second episode of the night.
Which means it's usually messy.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too messy.
Depends on the questions. We're doing an anonymous Q&A session.
Whoop.
So we use Curious
That's
Cat.
the third time I said whoop. That means that I'm definitely had enough to drink.
Yeah, for sure. So we use Curious Cat, and then everybody can submit questions to us anonymously on the Tinternet, and then we have to answer them. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I'm ready. Ooh.
Can you both tell us about your tattoos, what you have, and what meanings they have, or if they're just aesthetic?
You can start with some of yours.
Okay, well, I have my... Oh, God, where to start? Okay, I have my owl tattoo, which is my big one that everybody comments on quite a lot, down my arm. And I just love the way that my friend drew it and designed it, and I really love birds.
Yeah, you fucking do.
No, yeah, I do. I love birds. Birds of prey. I was thinking of having a bird of prey one next, like a really sort of savage one that I'm interested in. Anyway, so I've got an owl, and that is because I'm building 2 sleeves that have taken some time because of lockdown. I was supposed to have loads of my sleeves finished, before lockdown kicked in, and I want them finished for the wedding, the big wedding next year.
If anyone heard that, that's our dog. She's biting my Doc Martens.
Yeah, it's the puppy. She's teething.
Yeah.
She currently has too many layers of teeth because her baby teeth are not falling out and her big teeth have come through, and now she looks like a freak.
Oh, she does not.
She should. She should be at one of them circuses.
Jess, that's our baby.
She's got fucking 2 sets of teeth. She looks like one of them piranhas.
No, she doesn't have 2 sets of teeth. She's on her fangs. She's got an extra
4 teeth.
Yeah. Castro had that. Most dogs do.
No, I know.
If
I'm
she still
only
has
playing.
it in a month, then I'll take her to the vet.
I thought you were going to say she still have them in a month. I'm going to knock them out.
No, oh my God.
Okay, tattoos. Right, so owl on my arm.
Yeah.
On my other arm, I have Salt and Pepper lyrics.
So edgy, dude.
What?
What?
What did you say?
I didn't.
Yeah, you did. What did you say? Were you
said
being mean?
No, I said that's so edgy, dude.
It's not edgy. I had them because... So, anyway, back to the sleeves thing. One of my sleeves is about knowledge and about learning, and the other sleeve is feminist. So I have one arm that's going to be filled with women's rights and female empowerment stuff, and then the other sleeve is going to be stuff about using your fucking brain. And then on the same arm as my owl is my quill and ink pot, which is my newest one, isn't it? Yeah. And the quill is writing the words non decur deco, which is Latin.
4, let me tell them.
Go on.
4 is always the quiet ones who do crack.
It's always the quiet suburban ones with a crack habit. Is specifically what she said. No, non decur deco means I will not be led, I lead. And so that was actually my first ever tattoo that I had when I was 17 or 18 or something. And then I accidentally got it covered by another design that I really liked on my back. And then I always said I'd put it back, so we've put it back there. So I've got the quill and the ink pot and that, and then I've got the owl, and then I've got on the other arm I've got Salt and Pepper lyrics of their first ever #1, which is Ain't Nothing But a She Thing. Ain't nothing but a she thing. I absolutely fucking love that song. It's actually not on any of their albums, and it was also not released as a single. It was released for International Women's Day to raise money for women's services, as part of a mix album of special, almost like special editions of different female artists at that time in the early 90s who wrote songs specifically for this collection.
Wow, that's amazing.
Anyway,
know
I
that.
really love the video of it. You can find it on YouTube, and you can find the song by Salt and Pepper, "Ain't Nothing But a She Thing," and it's just a great song. It's the lyrics are great. The whole song is great.
She just pulled my lace out.
No,
Oh, okay.
no. And then I've got my Venus symbol tattooed on one finger that me and Jaimi got done in prison when we was doing a bit of bird. And then and then I've got a huge phoenix on my back, which is needs to go over with a bit of black ink because I had it done in grayscale against the wishes of my tattoo artist, who all the way through that tattoo told me that it wasn't going to be dark enough. And then for 3 settings I had a massive phoenix tattooed on my back in grey ink, which she now needs to go over in black ink because she was right, crazily. She was right the whole time that it needed to be in black. And then on the other side I've got a set of roses and some flowers that we're like building into like wildflowers and shit. So that's going to take some time to fill all that one up because that's like half of my back. Is that it? Is that all my tattoos? And then Jaimi, you need to explain yours.
Yeah, I do. Mine are really sentimental, actually. I've got a massive Hogwarts on one leg. It's fucking cool though.
It's fucking awesome.
No, none of my fucking tattoos mean shit. They're just pretty. I have a really nice, massive mandala on one leg. I
love
like
that one on you.
Yeah, I actually partially designed it myself.
She picked it off a wall.
No, I didn't. Honestly. And then I've got a big Hogwarts with the moon cycle around it and the Deathly Hallows at the bottom. And then that was the dog. And then I got the Venus symbol on my middle finger.
We both had that done at the same time.
And
We got matching tattoos.
Right, but my Venus symbol, I've had that gone over 3 times, and my fingers and my hands heal just so well and so quickly that it won't take the ink. Yeah,
it pushes the ink out a bit on your fingers, doesn't it? So finger tattoos, those of you that don't have finger tattoos are very hit and miss. For some people, the skin on your fingers will hold ink, and for some it won't. Mine is pretty good, and we had it done at the same time, obviously by the same tattoo artist, and mine's been very well behaved, but Jamie's has been gone over 3 times, and her body's pushed most of the ink out every time. So we now lovingly refer to that as Jamie's prison tattoo because it literally looks like someone dragged it through with like a compass.
Yeah, literally.
And so we've both joked that on our wedding day we're going to colour them in with Sharpies because they're both a bit faded.
Yours is way better than mine. You put yours in chlorine, you picked your scabs and like didn't use the aftercare.
Yeah, no, I was really badly behaved with that finger
well.
tattoo. Yeah, and then Jamie was good as gold and hers fell out.
3 times.
Do you know what it's like to have a tattoo fall out your fucking finger? Jamie does.
Yeah, I fucking do.
You need to stop having fucking shitty tattoos in prison then, don't you? Fucking hell. Okay, hopefully we've answered that. I'm definitely getting more tattoos. I fucking love tattoos.
Yeah,
I want my sleeves finished. I want my back piece finished. The dog's eating the wall again, baby. Carlo.
Yeah.
Jamie's like going like pause it while we deal with the dog.
Awesome, we've sorted that out.
I know, for you that was like 1 second, but for us we just did 3 different renditions of Pink Floyd. Which makes it sound like we did that. You know the whole fucking song's like 8 minutes. No, we didn't. Carlo started deciding tonight. She's been dead good tonight, but then she started licking the wall, and she's found a fucking hole in the wall, and that is tiny. Yeah, she's putting a whole tongue in it, and she's like licking it out and like eating brick
Whoa.
She is. I've seen her fucking do it. So I just said to Jaimi, all in all, it's just another lick in the wall. Anyway, now the other dog's starting. Why is she trying to climb the French doors? Fucking hell. Okay, let's go back to the questions.
Yes.
Let's see how many we can do.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
When did you actually realise you were a lesbian, and how did you tell your male partners?
I didn't really tell my ex because he was dangerous. So I would just try to leave him as safely as I possibly could in like a really shit situation where I was like student, I had no fucking money. I had a dog, so I couldn't go live in halls. I just like, didn't tell him really. But then I didn't.
You found that on Instagram.
But then I didn't. I don't think I actually realised I was a lesbian and not attracted to men at all until we'd been in a relationship for quite maybe like a month or so. Until I realised I wasn't even bi. I just like literally wasn't attracted to men at all. So yeah.
I definitely would have said I was bi when I was like younger. So like, okay. So when I was growing up, I messed around with girls loads of times and like kissed them and like, had like sort of, I don't know what to really call them, like sort of sexual encounters. I don't know really what to call them. That makes me sound like one of them weird. It makes me sound like a guy that goes dogging. Like, I don't know really, like, because you're like, people call it, me and Jaimi had this conversation about it today, people call it experimentation, but I know that for me it wasn't that, but I just didn't know what else I was supposed to do because I was so trapped in other parts of my life, and I just had never considered that I could actually be in a relationship with a girl. So, like, I think there was probably, whilst I was in high school, maybe 5 or 6 girls that I was involved with on the quiet. Nobody said anything. And then, a couple of times went out and met. And then as I got older, like, met a couple of women. And then even when I was older, sort of 18, 19, met a couple of women in, like, bars and stuff. I only, like, kissed them or whatever, but I never really processed the fact that I was actually massively attracted to women, and like I just wasn't attracted to men. Men would come on to me all the time and be like, "Fuck off, dude! Why are you fucking speaking to me?" And not once did I ever process that was not normal if you're supposedly straight.
Yeah.
So it was. I think even then though, I wouldn't have been like, "Oh, I think I'm a lesbian." Even at that point, I think by the time I was 20, I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm bi." And I'd spoken to like my little sister about it, and I'd spoken to like some friends about it, that I thought I was bi. And then as I got older, I realised maybe I wasn't bi and maybe I was actually just attracted to women, but I never spoke to anybody about that and really struggled on my own with that for ages. And I just felt a bit trapped, like I was with a man. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't feel like I could be, I don't know, it just never even, I felt like almost like, what's the word? How to explain it? Like almost like my life was written for me, and I could never have this chance. And I often used to think, I remember thinking sometimes, God, if I had my life over again, I would just be with a woman. Like there's just no way that I would live this life, and I almost felt like there was just no hope for me at all. So like by the time I was probably about 25, 26, I was definitely starting to think, no, I think I might be lesbian. But I'd never told anybody, never spoke to anybody, and like didn't know what I was supposed to do. And in a way kind of didn't pay it that much attention because I just felt a little bit like there was just no way out anyway, because I was in a long-term relationship with a guy and like just didn't really know what to do. And then I think by the time I'd got to about 26, it was eating me alive and I just wasn't really doing anything about it. I think that actually contributed to me getting really ill, was like, so then when I was 27, or 27, 28, when me and you, were spending a lot of time together, and I realised that I actually had, feelings for you, oh my God, did that hit me like a fucking train, because suddenly there was this possibility, this opportunity that there was a woman around me that I actually really cared about and that I really fancied and that I was falling in love with her, and then I just thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? What the fuck am I going to do now? And, you know, the man that I was married to did straight up be like, oh, do you fancy her? And I was like, yeah. Which didn't go down very well, as you can probably imagine. And I was quite straightforward. Once I'd processed it enough and I'd left and I'd gone to live with my friend, and then I told him, and I was like, well, I'm gay, and I am attracted to my best friend. And like it was extremely difficult. It was extremely difficult. And we don't really, like we've said on other podcasts, we don't really talk about it, do we? About all the stuff around it.
No, someone has asked, though, that we do a podcast on it, so maybe we could have that as our next podcast. And we can go into some more details.
Yeah, I think I wrote a blog that was not personal. It was not personal about, like, I didn't write it about me or my journey, but I did write a blog about, and it says something like, dear women who are in relationships with men wondering if you're a lesbian. And that I did write that purely because I needed to write something cathartic, because of all the years that me and Jamie, we've been together over 2 years, and we've been talking about this now a lot, about how we were both in relationships with men and we felt that we almost had to be, in a way, despite the fact that there were so many, we laugh about this all the time, there were so many signs there that we were both gay.
Yeah.
Like, so gay. So, yeah, it was... we probably should, really, because that blog was read by thousands of thousands of women. I had so many women contact me about, like, thinking that they might, well, knowing that they're gay and trapped in a relationship with a man.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another one. Apart from it being a waste of one of my favourite drinks, how did you not throw Malibu and Coke over those idiots in the pub? This is about the incident yesterday.
It's Malibu and orange juice. And Malibu and pineapple juice, not Malibu and Coke. You would never drink Coke.
Oh, God, no, I hate Coke.
I actually quite like Malibu and Coke.
Do you? I
sort of wish I'd started drinking Malibu now rather than Jamshed.
I fucking love Malibu. Although I haven't had a Jamshed in ages, so I fancied one. There is absolutely nothing that would make me swill somebody with my Malibu and orange juice, because it's fucking nice. And I would be so angry.
No, the only reason that stopped you from doing that is I literally stood up and went, let's go then. And I literally had to, not drag you out, but I did have to, like... You
did pull both arms.
I did have to pull you.
Yeah.
And you kept on stopping, and I was like, no, Jessica.
Oh, it was so hard. I was, like, stopping and, like, seething, and my hands were shaking, and I just couldn't, and I was just like, oh my God, I've got to go back there. I've got to address this. I've got to say something.
So for those
and Jamie was like, no.
For those of you who don't know, we were sat in a beer garden yesterday.
Yeah, having some lunch yesterday.
There was a table of like probably 5 or 6 professionals sat behind us, different occupations like police officers, paramedic, social worker, maybe something like that. Someone who worked in addiction, someone who worked for the Department of Work and Pensions, I think. Yeah. And they were openly discussing cases. Then this one woman was just like, oh yeah, and then this girl was phoning me, and she said that she's got 3 kids, and one of them's from a rape, so we have to pay for it. And I was like, oh, well, sounds logical. And I was literally miming to Jess, like, that's literally the law. That's legal. That's totally what is meant to happen.
And then that's how they got onto that conversation.
And then they were like,
gang rape,
and then they were like, and she's been involved in gang rape by 2 gangs. So she's obviously a bad egg, isn't she?
Oh my! I was seeing it. It had been bad enough anyway, because me and Jamie had been sat there ages listening to their conversations, and they'd been fucking talking about cases of like cardiac arrest and addiction and. Or just honestly, they literally just sat there for hours just talking about cases, and then it just almost escalated to the point where they then sat around the table, bad mouthing this woman who'd been gang raped and then had become pregnant.
Yeah, and then kept the baby.
Seething. I was so angry. The thing is, right, there's lots of times where I would be confrontational and I would definitely say something. The thing is, though, because I'd had a drink, and because of the fact that I know full fucking well that if I fucking kicked off in that pub garden, you fucking know that I would end up in trouble for that.
Yeah.
It would be me that ended up on the receiving end of some bullshit. It wouldn't be them, would it? It would. I'm one of them people where, I can't get away with nothing. You know, certain people in your life that seem to get away with everything.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite of that. Like, I could say something and everyone will criticise me for it for a month.
Yeah.
So I can't get myself in that level of trouble anymore the way I used to, because people love to like tear strips off me. So I can't put a foot wrong no more.
Yeah.
So annoying, because they fucking needed telling. It was disgusting. I was so appalled by them. And the thing is, everyone's been messaging me and fucking commenting, being like, why didn't you report them to their employers? How the fucking hell am I supposed to know who their employers are? They were not even from this area. Did you notice?
Yeah.
They were all different accents.
Yeah,
and
they all had different accents.
They were a family, so there was like a mum, sons, daughters, their wives, their partners, and then someone else in the family, maybe like an uncle or something. They were all professionals in different areas.
We don't know who they are either.
I've got no idea who any of them are, but I knew they weren't from that area because they kept incorrectly naming where they were.
Yeah.
Did you notice?
No, I didn't.
I'll tell you after the podcast, but they were basically going, oh, we're in this area of the UK and we've gone to see our family, and I was like, you're nowhere near there, pal. You fucking idiot. But yeah, it was awful. It was awful. Okay, shall we pick another one?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we're halfway through the podcast. How are we going to pick?
What about that one that person sent you, where they sent you a list?
Oh yeah, that was on my Instagram account.
Is it?
They're
quite funny, I think.
There was some in here, methinks. Who pissed you off most being a turncoat on J.K. Rowling? Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, or Rupert Grint?
I think Daniel Radcliffe pissed me off. All of them. Didn't Rupert Grint end up was sort of more sympathetic?
Yeah, I think he was.
I think it's ridiculous with J.K. Rowling. She's literally read the stuff that she's written. She's not said anything fucking bad at all.
I think if everyone believes that she's actually transphobic and that she hates trans people, I think all those trans charities that she gave millions of quid to should give it back. I'd fucking like to see him do that.
Yeah, but this is the thing though. She has always given money to trans charities. Always has. Always will.
I know
she doesn't brag about it. And she doesn't brag about it. So she was. Oh, it just pisses me off. Just because she doesn't necessarily believe
in theory
in
of
gender. In the theory of gender, and that's all it is. It's just a theory. That doesn't mean that you hate people who are transgender or people who are gender non-conforming or whatever. But I don't know. All of them, really, because she literally has given them everything that they have.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't know how they dare.
On the one hand, it pisses me off about Emma Watson because she's tearing down another woman and she claims to be a feminist. But Daniel Radcliffe, he's like another one of those lefty men who sort of, I don't know what the word is, use their status or whatever to tear down a woman by pretending that they're on the right side.
Oh, no.
It's like virtue signalling to tear down a woman, which is just misogyny.
Yeah, which is the easiest thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
Publicly tearing down a woman that says something that someone doesn't like is literally the easy way out.
Yeah.
Because the hard way out is to stand up for her.
Yeah.
For me, I think Daniel Radcliffe, it annoyed me because he is literally a millionaire. He's white. He's privileged. He's got everything he wants. He got it all from Joe. So the fucking bare minimum he could have done was just to literally say, the bare minimum, even if he didn't agree with her, is to say they're her opinions, and I might not agree with them necessarily, but she, that is the absolute minimum that he could have done, but he didn't. He actually attacked her publicly instead for some fucking woke points, which is one of them things that nobody will even remember. Nobody will give a fuck about in the future. Nobody will remember him doing that.
Yeah.
And then Emma Watson, her brand of feminism is very mixed up anyway. She says certain things that I think, yes, bang on. And she says other things I think, what the fuck are you on about? She borders on like what I call celebrity feminism.
Yes, yeah,
like
absolutely.
Beyonce, like I'm a feminist. I was like, are you? Interesting.
Yeah.
So what was interesting about like Emma Watson and her like so-called feminism is that her feminism went as far as to a woman that she didn't agree with, and then that
who she knows,
and there it ended.
All of those three have like had so much to do with Jo since they were young children.
Yeah, they were,
and know that she's kind, know that she's compassionate, know that she was the first person ever to give up billionaire status because she was giving so much money to charity, and she doesn't even brag about it.
Yeah, no.
She doesn't feel the need to.
No, most
they
people
wouldn't
even be able to say where all that money went because it's not public.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, I know.
Exactly. And they know this about her, and she has like looked after them. She's been like a family like member to them. Like I know that because I've watched so many interviews when I was a kid.
What of those three? Like,
of the four of them, and like I always watch interviews of Jo, and it's just like, why would you do that? You know that somebody isn't hateful, so why are you going along with it?
It is literally just protectionism. It's like self-preservation.
Yeah, but why don't they just fucking ignore it? Nobody's going to care if they ignore it. They're just trying to like be relevant.
Yeah,
and that's what I hate about it. It's like, I don't really like the term identity politics, but that is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, you want another?
Yes.
Seeing as we're spilling the fucking tea. Have you met anyone that you really looked up to only to be really let down and disappointed by them? Yeah, Sheila Jeffries.
Oh, whoa.
I'm gonna say it because like I was so excited to meet her
I remember.
and to read all her stuff, and like for some of you are gonna know who she is and some of you aren't. She is a really, influential radfem writer and lesbian, and writes very interesting theories and ideas around sort of lesbian politics, radical feminism politics. And she's just so interesting, and I met her and I was just so excited to meet her. I only spoke to her briefly, but I was like so blown away, and I just was like, I can't wait to read all this stuff. And then she put a fucking post up dragging me for no fucking reason. I've never like done anything wrong, and it was over what me and you look like. I actually wasn't able to personally see that post because I was also not. I was not able to see it. Other people showed it me and told me about it, and I had no idea this had happened. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, why? What's going on?" They're like, "Oh, have you seen what like she's written about you?" And I was like, what? Why would she write something about me?
Yeah,
she don't even know me. Yeah. And it was about me and Jaimi, and apparently being like, I don't know what it was, some sort of like fake lesbians or some shit, or like lesbians for the male gaze, blah blah blah, whatever. And I was absolutely gutted because like
it fucking hurts. It hurts so bad. Because I got that shit at school. I get that shit by like the women who protected my ex.
Yeah. Like
after leaving abuse and after like disclosing. I don't fucking need it from radical feminists who I've looked up to. Yeah,
I know. That's been really hard. Like, to be honest with you, for me and Jaimi, there's been several women who we have looked up to and been, like, basically inspired by. And we have, been dead excited to learn more about and want to get to know and, like, have, like, listened to their stuff, watched them give talks, read their books. And then they've treated us like fucking dog shit. So it has got to the point, and like those of us that know us personally know that we had to take a massive step back from a lot of stuff because of that disappointment.
Yeah.
And just being like attacked, having never even spoken to some of these women or never done anything to them. It just, at the end of the day, you got to be reminded that, even women and even men that you look up to are human. They're not faultless. In the same way that people might look up to me, it doesn't mean that I'm fucking perfect. There's going to be things about me that you hate or that you don't agree with or whatever. But I would hope that I wouldn't do something, like that. But yeah, that's like that's how I feel about it. And like, if there was ever a way that's like somebody could explain to me why we have been treated in this way by particular women that we look up to, that would be brilliant. Because I would love to fucking know.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a shame really, because there's just so much stuff that I like really admire and really look up to, and it's just sort of I don't know, thrown me a little bit, like the way that we get ignored or the way that we get like blanked and shit. It's like, oh, okay, all right then.
Yeah.
Don't
We
fucking
try really
contact me
hard.
for favours.
Yeah. Okay, I've got quite a fun one for this. When I was in sixth form, I went to a massive school. There was like 3,000 kids in my school, and there was 4 or 5 of us who got chosen to, like, by the music department, to go to a masterclass. So it was for songwriters who were like, you know, had achieved really good things in like music. And we got to go and meet Gary Barlow, and he was putting on this masterclass. Fuck me, is he up his own fucking arse? It was meant to be a masterclass. Do you know what happened? So he was meant to teach us about stuff and, you know, like listen to us and all this jazz. It was meant to be like quite intimate. Basically, he got loads of like, him and his company or whatever sold tickets to this event for students. He got a load of women who just fancied him, like all around him. He just spoke about himself for like 2 hours and didn't speak to like hardly any students whatsoever.
It's a huge disappointment.
Honestly, he was so up his own arse.
I think he comes across like that though.
I loved Gary Barlow when I was a kid. I thought he was so cool, and I just thought he was an excellent songwriter. And he was just so up his own arse. He was like, oh, nobody take any pictures of me. You're not allowed any pictures in here.
I think he always came across like that, always. I don't know. I met him in a hotel when I was a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
When they came in, when Take That came in for a drink. When I was working as, you know, as a waitress as a teenager. And it was I've told this to Jaimi before, it was in the period of time where Take That was like corny as shit and they weren't famous. So it was after the huge bit in the 90s and then the dip, and then they made a comeback, didn't they?
They came back in 2005.
Yeah,
so
and I was a teenager working in the hotel, right? So they were in the lobby and they'd gone, I tell you what they'd gone to.
No, they split up in 2005.
They had gone to watch a panto in Stoke.
Yeah.
One of their mates, I know who it is, was one of the lead actors, and they'd gone and they decided to have a drink in the hotel bar that I was working on just before the panto. I feel, and it always makes me laugh now because all the other staff were like, oh my god, let's Take That. And they were being really nice. They were signing autographs, they were chatting to people and everything. Everyone was like, Jess, are you going to go over and chat to them? I was like, no, I think they're fucking losers. I didn't go over because I fucking hated their music. And I was just like, oh god, no, spare me, will you? And I was like, I'm not fucking going over there talking fucking Gary Barlow, fucking wanker. And they were just... I just didn't like him. I've never liked him.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
I'll release the picture after this podcast. If anybody asks me to, I'll release a sneaky snap that I got of Gary Barlow.
I know which picture you're on about.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to take pictures,
No, we weren't supposed to take any pictures.
Yeah.
But I fucking did.
Of course you did. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. Shall we try and pick some?
Yeah,
Someone asked us, how can you prevent lesbian bed death? I'll tell you something now, we don't know.
We don't need to know because we have a great time.
Maybe we've not been together long enough.
I've been in. I am gay.
Okay, but we've been together for like over 2 years, and like
it just gets better and better.
Yeah, I know. I don't even think we've peaked. So
yeah,
you have come to the wrong place for this advice because I don't think that we have experienced this or are even close.
You've got to, I think at the end of the day, you've got to be with someone who you love, like, totally, who you respect totally, and who you think is amazing, and who you think is attractive.
You have to be very attracted to them. Yeah.
And I'm like mad attracted to you. Should we kiss?
Let's kiss, please.
Aww.
I would hope that if we ever got to that place in our marriage, because we're getting married next month, I know, I would hope that we would just talk about it and just identify it and be like, what's going on? Are you okay? Is something going on? Are you stressed? Or like, has something changed?
Yeah.
Which we're pretty good at talking things through, even if they're stressful.
Yeah.
So I'd hope that would carry on, but you never know. What else is there? Someone asking me how I deal with straw man arguments against things that I say. A lot of the time, I fucking ignore them. I've got to the point now where people say the stupidest shit to some of the things that I say that I just think that's like, I have a rule, right? I will engage with you if you stick to the argument.
Yeah.
If you don't stick to the argument and you just go off on a tangent and claim that I've said things that I've never said, I'm not replying, because it's a waste of my time and a waste of everybody else's time.
Yeah.
And, I get that a lot, especially from people that don't want to engage with the topic or the argument, and they just go off on one and be like, oh, you said this, so this is what you must mean. Like, no, move on. Fucking stick to the topic, will you? Sometimes I feel like giving them like essay pointers and being like, you lost marks here because you didn't stay focused. You've gone off on a tangent and none of this is relevant.
I just want to say some of these questions are excellent, but we could do entire podcasts on them, and I think we will. Okay,
yeah. So some people have asked some awesome questions, and I actually think they're well worth a whole podcast each, to be honest with you. So I don't want to get into these really big ones. If you're listening, you're thinking, oh, fuck, why haven't I fucking answered my question? I actually think we should probably do podcasts.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you for those. So if we've not answered your question...
This one's an amazing one. Look at that. I'd love to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. We could do a whole podcast on that.
That's a really amazing one.
So
can we answer that question, though? Because that's quite a small one.
I think we can answer both of those a little bit. So one of them is about reclaiming misogynistic terminology. I don't think you can.
No, I don't think you can. I think
if we can learn anything from, sort of Black rights movement, is that I know so many people who will say you cannot reclaim the N-word. And I think, obviously it's not the same, but when a word is used to oppress a group of people...
Then you can't reclaim it.
And whilst it's still being used, then, yeah. And then also, why is it always white people? They don't know any of the words to a song, but they know when the N-word is, and they say it so fucking loud. They do the same when it's the B word, when it's like, bitch.
Yeah.
And then, when did you first find out what the menopause is? Is it something you think about much?
I do think about it, but in my family, women go through the menopause really late.
Yeah.
It's so like my mum's 50 and she's not. Like I think she's possibly just get like. I don't think it's.
Yeah. I sort of knew what it was. My mum had a friend who went through it really young, and she was pregnant at the time, and I was quite young, and I remember her talking about she was going through the change, and I asked what it was, and I just knew what it was. And then obviously my mum sort of started going through it when she was about 50 or something like that. And I just remember her always being like, oh, Jamie, can you go to shop and get me some ice lollies?
Ice lollies.
I just want some ice lollies. Like, yeah, okay. So I used to try and find her ice lollies, which was quite hard in the middle of winter. Co-op doesn't sell ice lollies in the middle of winter. So, yeah.
I think it's something that I think about more and more as I get a bit older. But at the same time, I have very mixed feelings on things. I feel like I need a lot more research and I need to learn a lot more. I don't think that I know enough about things like natural alternatives that I want to look into around HRT, and like all just the things that maybe I don't fully understand, and that I feel like I need to read more research, more literature before I make a decision. I think that I had to think about it at one point, at one scary point, when I had my cervix removed for like abnormal cells, and then it got quite bad, and then they ended up taking quite a lot, and then I was basically told that if the margins didn't come back clear, then they would want a hysterectomy, and suddenly I was thrown into this like, oh my god, what the fuck. But that didn't actually happen, because after the operation the margins came back clear, and then I had test of cure, And then I had some other tests and it came back clear, and I've got away with it so far.
And your most recent smear came back clear, didn't it?
Yep, which is what we're getting on for, like 5 years since the
5
operation.
years, yeah.
So yeah, it is something that I suddenly had to like think about and then kind of haven't since. What are your opinions on various psychological therapies for trauma? Would you ever consider EMDR for yourselves? Have either of you ever considered training as therapists?
I would be a shit therapist. I would tell everybody to dump their boyfriends.
You'd be like Ariana Grande of therapists.
Thank you. Next.
I've worked in therapy. I'm not a trained therapist. I managed the service. I've done loads of different kinds of direct face-to-face work over the years because of working in rape centres, working in domestic violence services, working in victim services. I've done loads of that type of work. I don't think I would train as a therapist. I quite like I like causing change. I like doing research. You know what I mean? And I think it takes a very special kind of person to be an excellent therapist.
Yeah,
and I actually don't think I am that person. I think that I'm very good at it when I need to be. But I don't think I could do it, for like several hours a day.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, I'm such an emotional person.
You're such an empath.
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Like I cry
and
at
I'm
stuff.
not.
Yeah, like I cry at stuff on dog spotting all the time.
she does.
Like proper. And I don't think that I would be able to do that. I think I would end up being just so fucking depressed and sad all the time. And also my degree's in politics. I don't and hopefully my doctorate will be as well, if I get to do it.
I know, I'm so excited. I've got my fingers crossed for you.
Yes, everybody cross your fingers for my PhD proposal.
I know. Woo-hoo. But I think it does. It's a real specific person, to be a decent trauma-informed therapist.
And it's a career that you are going to have to commit your life to, and I don't think I could do that. I think I'd burn out. And I wouldn't be able to have a work-life balance. I would bring it all home.
Yeah.
And I'm really upset about this case or whatever.
What I know that I would do, and I would be interested in small numbers, is mentoring. I like mentoring, especially women with ideas. If they want to set up their own organisations.
I think a lot of therapists don't have certain tips that they need to know. So I'm struggling with this. So a lot of people end up in counselling because of factors in their life that are about the systems around them.
Yeah. So so that's exactly.
I would rather be
training therapists.
I think a lot of therapists would find it useful to be this is how you apply for benefits as well, because you're probably struggling with that too.
Oh yeah, I see. So they had some extra.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes I've been to therapy a few times, and sometimes you have so many things going around your head, and sometimes you need to remove the stress things so far so that you can concentrate on the deeper things.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't really know.
Well, to answer your other question, would we ever consider having therapy? I don't want to speak for Jaimi, but I've had loads of counselling and therapy, and whenever I need it in my life, I go and get. Yeah, same as me. Jaimi just said, I don't know if you heard
need some more.
Yeah.
I said that I would get some more after my degree, and I've
did.
just not been able to because of COVID.
I genuinely believe that you should see therapy as a present to yourself. It's not something that do you know what I mean? It's self-care.
Yeah, it shouldn't be stigmatised.
It's self-love.
I don't think.
You should buy it for yourself. You should access it if you can. You should do it because you care about yourself, and you should
really
process
hard
your shit.
Isn't it? For most people, they can't afford it.
No,
I couldn't afford it a few years ago. And you'd get the shitty CBT on the NHS where they just get you to fill in a form all the time.
Oh, I know. But you can get charities that do it for free, in some areas. But it's a postcode lottery, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I've really do love and value therapy. I think that's pretty much all we've got time for. However, like we said, there's some amazing questions there that I think we should do whole
and we will
podcasts
definitely.
on.
So thank you so much to everybody who listens, everyone who sent in questions. And if we've not managed to answer your question,
I think we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
Awesome.